Today I'm going to make my predictions for the Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500 at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Before I go any further, I want to add that I am doing a Pick 5 contest for this weekend's race. And for many of y'all that don't know what this is where you go down to the comment section down below and type in who you think is going to finish in the top 5. With your tiebreaker number, TBN, 1 through 200. But if you get 5 for 5 correct, you get an autographed hero card. Here's some right there. It's Cody Coughlin, Daniel Hemrick, and there's so many more I got. Ryan Newman, Harrison Burton, Todd Gilliland. You get the point. I got a lot, mostly all Truck Series drivers and a couple Xfinity, but you go 5 for 5. And then you get an unsigned hero card if you go 4 for 5. So you can still win something if you don't get all 5 correct. I ain't gonna be that person that just if you don't get all 5 right, you don't get nothing. But you get the point though. You do that, then you can be entered into the contest. But let's get started with my race picks.
Ryan Priest, and you're watching William Blackwell on YouTube.
The last 5 winners at the Atlanta Motor Speedway has been different, I guess you can say. But Ford has won 3 out the last 5 races at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. So Ford can possibly be the favored manufacturer heading into this weekend. But the last 5 winners. In 2019, you saw the 2 of Brad Keselowski get the job done. He held off a hard-charging Martin Truex Jr. in the closing laps, where Martin Truex Jr. was way better in the long run, while you had Brad Keselowski, who was good only on the short run, but Keselowski still held him off. A really close finish. In 2018, you saw the 4 of Kevin Harvick get the job done, holding off Brad Keselowski and his teammate Clint Bowyer. A good race there. And back in 2017, you had the 2 of Brad Keselowski win it. And then in 2016, you had Jimmie Johnson win it after a overtime wreck, I guess you can say. Because back in 2016, many people might not remember, but there was something called a overtime line. If you crossed it on the lap before the last lap, the race can be official. If there's a wreck, the leader's got to cross it. He crossed it. You had a 23 wreck of David Reagan and a couple others, Brian Scott. Some of them backmarker teams in that wreck. Took a big hit for them financially. But Jimmie Johnson got the job done there. Dale Jr. second, then Kyle Busch. Interesting there. But in 2015, Jimmie Johnson won it, holding off a hard-charging Matt Kenseth. But he got that win. It was pretty easy, I guess you could say, after you had that big wreck where it took out Clint Bowyer, Greg Biffle, Brett Moffitt, who was surprisingly contending for the win that day, which kind of gave him the advantage after that. And yeah, but those are your last 5 winners at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. My top 5 for this weekend's races pretty much based on recent finishes and stats at Atlanta. But winning this Sunday's race at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, I got the 2 of Brad Keselowski. Brad Keselowski is hot right now. He has won 2 out of the last 3 NASCAR Cup Series races. He won the Coke 600 and he won the Food City 500. So I honestly think Brad Keselowski is going to make it 3 wins out of the last 4 and make it back-to-back, I guess you can say. Keselowski has won Atlanta last 2 out of 3 races, like I said. And I think he adds another win to his resume at Atlanta. And second place, I got the 4 car of Kevin Harvick. Kevin has been good at Atlanta Motor Speedway in the past, and I think the trend continues, and he gets himself a top 5. And third place, I got the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. Martin Truex is due for a good run, and I think Atlanta's going to be the place you see where it happens. Him and his crew chief, James Small, hasn't been getting going in the right direction, I guess you can say. They always find themselves in a hole in the later stages of each race. They might be up front at the beginning of it, contending for a stage win, and you get the point. But as soon as that race goes on towards the end, he becomes irrelevant. So I think the Atlanta can be the switch point for that 19 team where they can be more relevant at the end instead of beginning. They can be both. Chase Elliott managed for that to happen in a couple races, so why can't Truex? And fourth place, I got the 14 of Clint Bowyer. Clint has always been good at Atlanta Motor Speedway and usually is contending for a win. And back in 2014, Clint was leading that race, which is on Labor Day weekend, but he was leading, though, had a 3 or 4 second lead over second place, Casey Kane, if I'm not mistaken. And he blew up with about 60 laps ago. I just don't know. I was at that race. It just felt like it was the worst feeling of all time. Boyer's my favorite driver, but it was bad. But he could have won that race. And in 2015, he got in a big-time wreck with Greg Biffle and Brett Moffitt, like I said earlier. And that ended his chances there. And 2017, he was contending for possibly a top 5, but he can still get a win if you're inside the top 5. But he was wrecked by Martin Truex Jr. And in 2018, he got a 3rd place finish. But just imagine, though, if there were a caution in that later stages of that race. Bowyer was good on the short run, so he might have brought home the checkered flag. Who knows? And in 2019, he got a top 5. He was, I guess you could say, up and down that day, but towards the end, he got inside the top 5. If there was another caution, who knows what would have happened. But this past weekend's race at Bristol, he did finish 2nd, so 4th place might not be Bowyer's finishing position next week. He might finish higher, possibly he can even win. But I was putting him 4th for us. 2nd place at Bristol is going to bring some momentum over. He might win a stage or 2 this upcoming Sunday, and he's now inside the top 12 in the NASCAR Cup Series points, which means he can draw from position 1 to 12 in the qualifying draw. But you get the point. But in 5th place, I got the 48 of Jimmie Johnson. Jimmie Johnson is now on pretty much a hot streak. He's coming off a 3rd place finish at the Bristol Motor Speedway, so some momentum's obviously going to have to carry over. And he's won here in 2016 and 15, the years before, but I still think he's going to bring home a top 5, and I guess you can say bring some more momentum over to Homestead. And then you got Talladega and possibly Pocono, I think it was, and NASCAR has yet to release the races after Talladega. But he's going to bring some momentum over, I think, if he gets his top 5. But my dark horse for this weekend's race at the Atlanta Motor Speedway is the 6 of Ryan Newman, the Rocket Man. Ryan Newman has always been good here at Atlanta. He always starts up front. He's the Rocket Man for a reason. He's really good in qualifying. But in the race time, he's usually been struggling. But you know what? Now with him in the 6th car, I think he can still contend for possibly a top 15 or a top 10, which would be nice for him because he missed those races early on due to his injury, which a top 15 right now will be a big time finish because of the points. But the weather for this weekend's race, I know it's Bristol was pretty clear, sunny skies. But you know what? It says mostly cloudy on AccuWeather. There's a chance of rain. There's a 40% chance. But a lot can change in a week. Not no weatherman, so you really can't say that, but I'm just basing it off of AccuWeather. It's 3 o'clock Sunday, mostly cloudy with a chance of rain, and 80 degrees. But there's your weather for this weekend's race. But overall, my top 5 is a 2, the 4, the 19, the 14, and the 48. And my dark horse is the 6 of Ryan Newman. But everybody, though, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And peace, and join my contest.